President Obama talks tech in China. Experimental software lets you view massive amounts of data. And we've got a hands-on with Dell smartphone. All that news and more on this week's World Tech Update. Thanks for joining us here on World Tech Update. I'm Nick Barber. This week we'll start in China, where U.S. President Barack Obama spoke out for unrestricted access to information on Monday during a question and answer session with Chinese university students in Shanghai. He was asked if he knew about the Chinese firewall and whether citizens should be able to use Twitter. Here's his response.
I have never used Twitter. I noticed that young people, they're very busy with all these electronics. My thumbs are too clumsy to type in things on the phone. But I am a big believer in technology, and I'm a big believer in openness when it comes to the flow of information. I think that the more freely information flows, the stronger the society becomes. Because then citizens of countries around the world can hold their own governments accountable. They can begin to think for themselves. That generates new ideas. It encourages creativity.
Twitter is currently blocked in China, as are other websites such as YouTube. While Obama didn't mention China or its censorship policies during his answer to the question, he cited the unrestricted flow of information in the U.S. as a source of strength for the country. Google announced on Thursday that they're open sourcing the Chrome operating system as Chromium OS. According to an official blog post, the company said it's doing this a year before Chrome OS will be ready for the public so that it can better work with the open source community and developers. A video posted to YouTube by Google shows a Chrome OS user interface concept. The Chrome OS is designed for people who spend most of their time on the web, and to that end, there are no conventional desktop applications. Everything lives online. Google claims the benefits to this include not having to update, install, or manage programs, and also improve security. Google said the operating system will be available for consumers around November 2010. The first Dell smartphone to go on sale anywhere in the world will be the Dell Mini 3i, which will be available in China this December for 4,800 Chinese yuan, or about $704 US. The smartphone is one of the first O phones in the world, a brand promoted by China Mobile to make sure consumers know it uses the Linux-based Open Mobile System, or OMS, developed by the company. The phone has a 3.5-inch touchscreen, but one drawback to the phone's glossy case was that fingerprints required constant wiping off. While the phone is a touchscreen device and made to be used with a finger, it did not respond to a stylus. The handset has a mini USB port and several buttons on the side, including volume and power. The handset does sport a camera, which is reportedly 3 megapixels, and a flash. There were no other details available. The European Union published findings of an 18-month investigation Tuesday, finding that 301 websites that sold mobile phone ringtones, wallpapers, and other services had serious breaches of EU consumer law.
All of this work has been about tackling hidden charges and nasty surprises in the small print of websites that rip off and cheat consumers. As you see, this is very serious distortion of the market. These days, people want to be careful about their spending, and for that they need transparent prices. They need to be able to compare offers, to shop around, and to find best value for their money.
Of the sites investigated, 70% of the cases have been resolved. The 2008 ringtone sweep found 3 main problems: unclear pricing, failure to provide complete trader contact information, and misleading advertising that promoted ringtones as free when in fact they were tied to a contract. Sony's CEO Howard Stringer spoke in Tokyo on Thursday and said that Sony is ahead on cost-cutting for the year and in the last 12 months has shed almost 20,000 workers and reduced inventories by 40%. His new management team, in place since April, was credited with much of the turnaround.
These have enabled us to streamline operations, speed decision-making, boost efficiency, and save money.
But the company isn't out of the woods yet. A 5% operating profit margin, a goal since 2005, is yet to be met. Sony lost money last year and predicts it will do the same this year. Its key PlayStation and Bravia TV businesses are also losing money, but it sets plans for both to be profitable next year.
We know we have to restore profitability in our TV and game businesses.
At Microsoft's Professional Developers Conference, the company's Live Labs group showed off a new experimental application called Pivot. It lets users view a graphical representation of large amounts of data and sort that data using a variety of filters.
One of my favorite collections is the Wikipedia collection. We wanted to be able to show the vast scale of information and visual data that you could look at in Pivot. We chose about 2.3 million articles and put it through a process that we can turn these articles into a small visual card representation. And so then if something catches your eye, you can very easily double-click on that to pull that interview and all the things that are around that as well. So you can very quickly swim through this massive collection and learn a lot very quickly, maybe to a destination that you weren't even thinking about when you started.
Pivot is experimental, so it may or may not become a product, and Microsoft is only allowing developers and organizations to try it by invitation only. Well, that's our show for this week. Thanks for joining us here on World Tech Update. Next week, my colleague Martin Williams will be hosting from Tokyo, as I'll be out for the Thanksgiving holiday here in the US. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter to find out what's coming up next week and on every week's show. I'm Nick Barber, and for all of us here at the IDG News Service, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week.